Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Beyond This, where we talk grounded spirituality for everyday life. Welcome. If we haven't met before, my name is Matilda and I am a professional psychic medium based here in Australia. This week's episode is a little different. We're going to talk about why you stay where you're unhappy. Now, this has personal and global connotations, and I want you to listen very carefully, even though it's probably going to make you feel a little uncomfortable. But then that's the point. We're also going to talk about predictions that have come in and those that I see coming in a little later in the episode, together with my meditation for this week. It's been a busy week. I feel like I blink and the weeks have passed. We're nearly at the end of March. We're moving into autumn here, or fall, as you call it in the United States. And a little bit sad, the weather hasn't changed too much. Still 29 degrees today, still warm, still muggy, but lots of exciting things happening in the world of Matilda. Patreon is busy as ever with lots of chats. I was on there this morning for an hour, catching up with everyone. This weekend, I have connected where we are talking about our own symbols and things that we use when receiving information from our guides, and how to make sure that we're really, truly receiving information and how important it is to practice, practice, practice. That's this weekend. April, I don't have April's calendar in front of me, but it's busy. I have my alignment code workshop. This is a workshop that many people have asked for. It is a workshop that combines self-concept, empowerment, and manifestation all in 1 2-hour workshop, and how to align ourselves to try and bring in our manifestations, to build up our empowerment and our self-worth. It's such an important thing. And there is an early bird special going on at the moment that gives you a $50 discount on that. It has already gone out to the Patreon members, and it is booking up fast. So that code, or sorry, the link to book will be in the bio. There is a code in Patreon that the code is on the advert. So everyone can use the code as long as you book before I think it's about the 14th of April, but I'll confirm that. So there's something I want to talk about today that might make you feel a little uncomfortable. But if I'm honest, that's exactly why this conversation matters. Because most people don't stay stuck because they don't know what to do. They stay stuck because they are lying to themselves and why they're not doing it. You already know. You know where you're unhappy. You know what feels off. You know what drains you. You know what no longer fits. But instead of changing it, you explain. You justify it. You minimize it. You tell yourself, you're not that bad. It's not that bad. Now's not the right time. I'll deal with it later. And later becomes your life. There have been moments in my own life where I knew something wasn't right. Not dramatically, not loudly, but quietly. That constant internal knowing, and I stayed. Not because I didn't know what to do, but because I didn't want the disruption. I didn't want the uncertainty. So I told myself I needed more clarity, better timing, more certainty. But the truth was, I was waiting to feel comfortable, making an uncomfortable decision. And that moment never actually came. What came instead was an escalation, more pressure, more discomfort, more clarity I could no longer ignore, until eventually I actually didn't have a choice. There is a comfort threshold. You do not change when something feels uncomfortable. You change when staying the same becomes more uncomfortable than leaving. That is the threshold. And most people live just underneath it for years, sometimes decades, not aligned, not fulfilled, not deeply happy, but not uncomfortable enough to move. Your nervous system is not designed to make you happy. It is designed to keep you safe. And safe means familiar. If chaos has been familiar, chaos feels normal. If struggle has been familiar, then struggle feels normal, even if it hurts. Because your system prefers predictable discomfort over unpredictable change. Some of you are creating conflict instead of creating change. You argue instead of deciding. You analyze instead of moving. You replay conversations again and again. It feels like movement, but it isn't. It is avoidance. Because a real decision ends the loop. Change is not just a behavioral, it is identity. Who are you if you no longer tolerate what you have always tolerated? Who are you if you step into something bigger? Who are you if you stop shrinking? Sometimes the fear is not losing the situation. Sometimes the fear is losing the version of yourself you have always been. People will often tell themselves, I will change when things calm down, when children are older, when work is easier, when life is less busy, when I retire. But what I see is people waiting for a time that feels perfect. And sometimes that time never comes in a way that they imagined. Health changes, energy changes, circumstances changes, and the realization becomes, I knew and I didn't act. I've seen so many people over the years, and obviously with what I do, I see a lot more of it. But I see people wait until retirement for change. And they retire after 40, 50, sometimes even 60 years working a job that they just do to get by. And the moment they retire, the moment that they change, they suddenly get sick and all their plans go out the window. Not all discomfort is telling you to stop. Sometimes discomfort is showing you where you have outgrown something, where your life is asking for expansion, where something no longer fits the person you are becoming. Discomfort is not always danger. Sometimes it is direction. Jumping in to do our Patreon shout outs for this week. We've had 3 sign-ups, Leslie, Willa, and Kirsty. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If you have had a problem with Patreon and the payment gateway, please email me at matilda@mediummatilda.com. There seems to be a payment gateway issue. I would like to get it sorted if I can. It means that people are losing their membership because of a glitch in the system. So I would like to help you. Please reach out to me if you can. Don't forget, all Patreon members sponsor this podcast. It means you don't have to listen to adverts in between listening to me. Um, on Patreon, we have the connected tier coming up. We have our manifesting catch up. I think it was last weekend. And coming into April, we're going to have our coffee morning, which you get to ask me all your spiritual and current affair questions. We have the Patreon Q&A podcast questionnaire that is currently up. That goes out in a couple of days. And as always, discounts on all my readings. My July calendar will be available to book on the 1st of April. Do not forget that there are discounts for reading availability right the way through to family group readings. They are available in the Patreon for all Patreon members. I'm always there up for a chat. There's lots of updates on predictions. I have just made available 2025's predictions, so you can all check those off on your list and see them in hindsight. Let's talk about systemic change. Let's talk about things that I have seen coming in future years that aren't necessarily going to happen straight away, but they are going to make an impact on this world we live in. There is a lot of things happening right now, and a lot of people asking the question, why is this happening? Why are we going through this? We are going through systemic change. We are going to see in years to come the undoing of the state of Israel. Um, I think that there's a lot of damage that is being done in the coming months that has been done. It's been ongoing, and people are going to start to ask the question. I think that we are going to see a lot more people aware of the corruption in many government systems. This is the period of time that most of this is becoming aware. Don't turn your back on it because you can make a difference. Even if it's the fact that you now see what's going on, you now see things for what they are, you now see why Donald Trump is in office. The coming 2 months are going to be very significant for secrets coming out. And I do believe that we are very close to knowing how the 2024 election was secured. I also think we're very close to seeing Donald Trump not be president anymore. And we're seeing more and more of his own party turn their back. We are not going to see the MAGA people understand or suddenly turn their back against the um, the Trump administration. Not all of them. Some of them are, some of them aren't. It just depends how open they are. And these people have lost their identity to an ideology, and they are going to struggle. They really are going to struggle. What we will see in coming months is a collective legal process against the Republican Party and the administration of the United States for pain and suffering, for things that have been done, things, the suffering of people because they've taken away individuals' jobs, they've taken away financials, they've made it harder for people to live. There is a class action of sorts coming against the administration. And I think that there's lots and lots of those. But the most important thing through all of this is that each and every one of you work on your own safety and your own preparedness. 2 to 3 years ago, I started talking about the fact that I found in my predictions and in my channeling that there would be a number of conflicts going on. But from what I was being shown, global warming was the biggest risk to humanity and was going to cause mass disruption. I also saw um, there's some video clips that I've got getting prepared of an event that I had with Laurie Rivers where we talked about what is happening right now in Iran, almost to the date. You'd think that we were psychic and an astrologer. Um, and we have both talked about preparing yourself for this moment in time. And that is not just because we are in conflict. That is because we are at a point where there are many things of impact happening. Those things include cybersecurity, hacking, weather. And I can't give you locations because this is global. There will be points that many of us will be without electricity because of a weather event or because of a hacking. No, the whole grid in the United States cannot go down unless you live in Texas. Um, but you could see rolling outages. You could see needing to use other sources of lighting. Be prepared. There is a full list and a full explanation of this in this month's newsletter on the Patreon, which goes out in the next couple of days. But talking about, it's not about panic, it's about being prepared. That includes making sure you've got water, making sure you've got lamps or flashlights, torches, whatever you call them, making sure that you've got a little bit of cash in your pocket to ensure that you can buy the basics if you can't access your bank because the electricity's gone down or the Wi-Fi's gone down or the bank has been hacked. And making sure that you have some long life goods. We are going to see a difficult hurricane season. We are seeing a horrendous cyclone season in Australia. We are seeing dramatic weather shifts, weather patterns change, where you could be at risk for all sorts of things. You could be isolated for a week. You could be without power. All of these things are to help you prepare. They're not to have you panic. It's not that I see total global nuclear destruction. I am concerned about dirty bombs being used globally. I am concerned about hacking and infiltrating things to halt certain areas of commerce. And we are looking at an economic downturn because war brings an economic downturn. So I want you to not only be prepared emotionally and spiritually, but practically too. And that is incredibly important. This next couple of weeks are going to be very, very telling. I am, as I've said, concerned about the use of chemical weapons. I'm not concerned about the use of nuclear weapons at this point. Am I concerned about terrorism in the United States? Yes. Am I concerned? And I said this in 2025, that I saw that there is likely going to be a problem with Americans traveling overseas. And you have been issued with a warning for your safety if you are traveling overseas. Perhaps tell people you're Canadian. But you've got this. You were born for these times. Community is going to be everything. And our community is here to support you. I'm going to talk about predictions next. I'm sort of rushing to get this recorded today because I've left it to the last minute. I wasn't too well last week, and then it sort of bit into my time. I had an amazing mediumship event yesterday, And after those events, I'm completely, totally, and utterly wiped out. I'm going to talk about what to expect at those events in a little bit. But yeah, I should have recorded yesterday, and now the weather's starting to turn, and I'm really scared that we're going to have a complete downpour. And it gets noisy in my little studio when there is a downpour. So I'm trying to get this recorded and out to you as quickly as possible, just so that you don't have to listen to what sounds like peas landing on my roof. Frozen peas at that. I've got some exciting stuff to tell you before I jump into predictions. I am going to be hosting my first live mediumship event in about 6 years in Victoria. In central Victoria, or we've chosen a venue. It is going to be in late July, early August, and I will keep you informed. It will be kept at a very manageable cost, and I think there is a maximum seating capacity of 120 people. And if we sell out, we'll just add a date to that. So that's exciting. Laurie Rivers and I are just about to announce a joint event, which again, we have kept the cost right down. It is covering the 3 months of June, July, and August. That is going to be in May. If you were around for our year ahead, we have hit the nail on the head, one after the other, after the other, after the other for the first 3 months of the year. So we are going to be doing another event in May. I am in Sydney doing one-on-one readings the middle of May. The price and booking details are on my website. I will include it in the show notes for today. See, there's so much going on, I forgot. Things are very busy, and Seamus is much improved. And I'm hoping that improvement continues for him. He didn't have a very pleasant couple of months with his tummy and his digestive system was really upset. So this is what you all wait for, is the predictions. I am seeing Trump having to backtrack on things that he has said over the coming months. However, that's not going to stop the rolling impact of what is happening globally during the war with Iran. Unfortunately, I do see us in Australia suffering quite considerably. It may get to the point where you have to show essential worker ID to get petrol, diesel, whatever. And it may get to a point where schools are stay at home. It is not a lockdown. It is let's do what's best for the economy and to save people having to spend so much money. I'm also going to say I don't like Albo. I don't like any of the politicians we've got the choices at the moment. I don't like him. I think that he's a wet weekend, and I think that if he'd have stood up to Trump sooner, we wouldn't be in this position. But what I don't like is people blaming him for fuel prices when the fuel prices are set globally. Um, and I think he could have done more. I think he's a dickhead. I really do. I think all of them are, to be fair. And I think that he's going to have some highly embarrassing situations coming up. There is going to be an incident with Hegseth in the US. Whether he corrects Trump or Trump corrects him, it's like I see them staring at each other, like glaring at each other across a room. There's going to be quite a bit of anger in that. I think that there's going to be something with the United Kingdom and the United Kingdom military come out. Like something embarrassing happens and Keir Starmer has to explain it. Nothing is going to change with this that is happening in the Middle East right now, but I do think things settle as we get to the middle of April, end of April, I'm going to say. And I'm going to stand by that. I still don't think that Trump will be president by the time we get to the middle of the year. I think his health is deteriorating, and it's deteriorating very, very fast. All right, that's it for me with predictions. I have a lot that have happened, and I'm working on trying to get them out there. There was one I kept. Like I saw an aeroplane incident in New York, And I really wanted to make that prediction public, but I didn't want to make that prediction public. Given that there is a conflict going on in the Middle East, and given it's New York and 9/11, and if I say that there was going to be an airplane crash in New York, I would panic so many people, and I just didn't want to say that. Um, but the one that I put on my social media is not the one that is in New York. There is another accident imminent. It involves a person of note. All right, I want to talk about mediumship events and what to expect in them next, and then we're going to jump into our meditation. If I explain this from scratch, that mediumship is a connection with those that have transitioned into the afterlife, your loved ones, basically, that have died, that have passed on, that step forward for you, but I am able to bring through that energy. It is energy. I am bringing through the proof that they give me, the names, the information, the dates, the love, the stories. All of that is really, really important. But if you are not open to understanding how that information comes through, especially in a group mediumship event, then there is no point you attending, because your loved ones aren't just going to give me their name. They're going to be like, it sounds like, or if it's a name that I know, they're going to show me the image of the person. But they also want to acknowledge those that they left behind, those that are connected to you. They want to acknowledge that. And I've had a number of instances where people aren't listening to the information during a reading, not a one-on-one, but during a group event. And then I get messages afterwards going, "Oh my God, can you give me more information? I've realized who you're talking about." Or you were giving me the V name, and it wasn't Vincent, it was Victor, or something very similar to that. Um, Please, if you're going to attend these events, I'm only as good as my last reading. I'm only as good a medium as the stuff that you can validate. Be open to the information that's coming through. That's not me trying to give a caveat, because you should know the loved one that I'm talking about. It should be really, really clear. But the extra stuff they're wanting to give, the people that they're wanting to acknowledge, be open to that. Write it down, because if I'm being given it, I can't. They won't take it away until I deliver it. So I have to deliver it. And if you're going, no, 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 then you're going to not enjoy the experience. And the experience should be incredibly healing and should be incredibly personal. That being said, I have my next large evidential mediumship event, which is on I think it's the 26th of April. It is $60 Australian, which is about 30 or $40 US. The link will be in my show notes to book. They are amazing events. I host them about midday in Australia, which gives most areas an opportunity to attend. If you are in and listening to this in Europe, of anywhere in Europe, the UK, Ireland, etc., I have erred away from scheduling these events at because I could do one of an evening, so that you guys will be up and around. It'd be, your lunchtime-ish. But my problem is that I never get the uptake for them. So can you please either email me at matilda@mediummatilda.com if you are interested in attending a large evidential mediumship event and it's the time zones that have put you off, or or comment, that would be amazing, because I'd love to have more Europe involved. And I get complaints about it all the time. But then when I advertise them and put them up for, say, 10 o'clock p.m. my time, which is your lunchtime, nobody attends. And I don't, I'm really stuck between a rock and a hard place. So let me know either in the notes here, the comments, or let me know in by email. And I have, before we jump into the meditation today, I've got a big favor to ask, a massive favor to ask. If you are listening to this on Apple, would you please leave me a review? It would mean the world to me. If you find this is helping you, if you leave me a review, it gets out there to more people and it's going to help more people. I also, if you're listening on Spotify, please follow and leave me a star review. That would be amazing. The more people that do that, the more I'm going to get out into society. And the only reviews I've got on Apple at the moment are two people that were very upset about the election outcome in 2024. Please, I don't ask for much from you guys, but I would really, really appreciate it. All right, we're going to do a meditation. And this is going to help you find some sort of direction and confidence. And if there's a meditation that you would like, let me know, because you guys, if you're on Patreon, especially, you sponsor this podcast. This is your podcast. Let me know what meditations you'd like. If it's comfortable to do so, please close your eyes. Take a slow breath in and out. Let your shoulders soften and let your jaw unclench. Allow your body to arrive. Now bring your awareness to something in your life, something that feels misaligned. Just notice it without fixing, without judging, just observing. Now gently ask yourself, what have I been telling myself about this? Allow the answers to come. Now ask, if I trusted myself, what would I do? Imagine a version of you who has already chosen change. See how they stand. Feel their steadiness. Feel their quiet confidence. Bring that feeling into your body now. You do not become them later. You become them through choice. Take another slow breath and gently come back. Change does not arrive when you are ready. Change arrives when staying the same is no longer an option. The question is, will you listen before that moment? You've been listening to Beyond This with Medium Matilda. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next week.